Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. It has been an interesting weekend, right? With the full moon, the eclipse, all of that energy. Typically, for me, it's heavy and impactful. We had a special live stream yesterday that hopefully helped you navigate through that. I know it helped me. We're going to continue on that energy today. And you chose a very great special topic, which is time traveling telegram advice from a future you. And I'll talk about how that works, because the interesting thing with memories and thoughts is they are basically frequencies and energy. So they can kind of go in the past, in the future. They exist above this sort of 3D realm. So we'll talk more about it when we get into that, but it's a very cool concept. And it's basically, I'm sure all of us have had that thought, what if I could have just gone back and changed this? I wish I had known this. So this is an entire reading from that perspective. I wish I could have done this differently. Well, we're going to ask the future self what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and hopefully that will help out. All right, but first things first, we have a bunch of other things that we cover before we get into the special topic. We'll do some channeled messages, a 7-day forecast, and then we'll quickly check in with the elements. Speaking of check-ins, let's say hello to Apollo, who's holding court behind us, curious and ready to receive all that is coming forth. Okay, so let's talk. There are a couple of things that I picked up on in dreams and meditation this morning. The first thing was this feeling of wanting to break from an existing system. So it was almost like I was in the scene of the Hierophant, where there was, this boss and this very rigid way of doing things. But it felt like it either didn't align, or maybe it was like incorrect instructions. There was something wrong about the whole setup. And I'd like you to be really mindful of what you agree to do contractually, the people that you decide to spend time with, and also like maybe just thinking, do I need to align with this clique, with this group, with this organization? Because it felt like there was a push from spirit to do something that was outside of the box, something that was a little bit more singular and unique to you. One of the topics today that did not win, I was hoping it would, but we might pull an extra card, the members kind of selected it, was the idea of aligning more to the star energy, being more in your sort of path. So this is one of the things that Spirit wanted to encourage you to do. Like, now is the time to take a step closer to something that feels right for you, not necessarily right for everyone else. Okay. The other thing was this feeling of being discarded is the best way that I can describe it, because I was kind of shown a recycling bin, and then this feeling of someone just not wanting you in their life after a certain chapter had ended. It's natural in friendships and relationships for people to kind of ebb and flow, kind of go further apart or closer together, depending on what lessons they've learned, how beneficial the relationship is, and just sometimes because you want to change. But it's never fun to feel like someone doesn't appreciate you. And I got a little hit on that as I was tuning in. So one thing that you can do, if that's not the case, if you feel like for yourself and the relationships around you, everything's good, I would work this week to just give confirmation and affirmation to the people around you, saying thank you, positive feedback when something goes well, say, wow, that was really great. Also just, and it should be heartfelt, not just sort of like putting it out there, but if someone just is bringing their best energy forward, say, wow, you made a difference in this. We all need to hear that from time to time. And so there may be people in your life that need to hear that. And it may have nothing to do with the way they're being treated, just the fact that they haven't had that encouragement. If you feel like you need more encouragement, you can also seek out a little bit of constructive feedback and just say, hey, did you like this? How is this working? I really could use some feedback in this area, particularly if we're looking at school or work. Okay, so those are a couple of areas that that I was picking up on. I'll look at the cards here and see what else is coming through on the energy for today. I'd like you to close your eyes first and foremost. Anything that you might be holding on to in this moment in time, let it go. Take a nice deep breath, and let's get into the 7-day forecast for today. And okay, we're going to give Apollo a snack too, because he is at that point in the reading where he needs a little bit of love and support, so let's do that. Hey, buddy, you want a snack? He's like, yes, please, Dad. There you go, buddy. All right. Now let's get into the 7-day forecast. So what we're going to be doing here is navigating through the week ahead, allowing ourselves to basically look at the highest energy points and the lowest points so that we don't waste any time. All right. All right, let's begin with the energy for today. So we have 9 of Cups coming through in reverse. As I mentioned in the full moon and eclipse reading from yesterday, one of the challenges today is just the intensity of emotion. Generally speaking, 9 of Cups is favorable. We can see her celebrating. It feels like everything's going her way. The reversal of this can feel like it's the opposite. Like, why is today so challenging? So best day ever, worst day ever is like 9 of Cups in reverse, these highs and lows. Life is somewhere in the middle, and it's really important to stay focused, keep that sense of perspective, and not kind of get lost in the shuffle. It's a really great day for meditation, self-care, spending time with others, because the daily card pull for today was also 2 of Cups. The past 2 days, it's been people cards like Page of Cups, 2 of Cups. So it's reminding you that you don't have to sort of shoulder this burden all on your own. When it comes to making a decision, this is a period in time where you want to pause and not sort of like do too much too quickly. Because when you're feeling that exaggerated high or low, oftentimes that means that you're not seeing the full picture, that you're allowing one moment, one feeling to sort of color all of the options, and it's more nuanced than that. So one breath at a time, one day at a time, easy does it, okay? All right, I'm keeping an eye on Apollo. I need to move his rug, so let me do that, and then we're gonna talk about the rest of this week. All right, so let's move on to the beginning of the week, Monday. We have 4 of Wands, and it's in the reverse position. For some of you, there's a desire for a structure to be built overnight. And I was mentioning that kind of Hierophant structure. If you're starting something new and you want to fit in, or if you're starting something new and you want to see it fully formulated, this card is saying, not so fast, everything in due time. It really does take time for things to be built correctly. The foundation upon which you build something is basically going to dictate the stability and the lifetime of it. So in a relationship, it's important to make sure that foundation is solid. In construction, it's important to make sure it's solid. And if you're working on a project or an endeavor, the same thing applies. You want to surround yourself with people that get what you're trying to do. This person is kind of going at it alone, but if we look at the traditional 4 of Wands, which I'll pull while we're talking, it is a card of support. And it's thematically connected to what I've been picking up on over the past 2 days for the daily card pulls. So I keep getting people card energy, and what I've been saying with that is that even if you're used to doing things on your own, sometimes it's easier or better when you get outside perspective, additional advice, basically someone coming in and saying, hey, have you thought about this? Much like we're going to be looking at advice from a future you, sometimes there's a person in your life that can help you see what you should be focusing on. So here's your traditional 4 of Wands. A reversal of the card, again, can represent also some delay in recognition or someone showing up. The encouragement here is to keep working hard because, again, the foundation is the most important thing, okay? So Monday is a great day to hold a meeting with someone else, to share ideas with someone else, to spend time with friends, family, and loved ones, and to slowly, methodically, carefully begin to build something new, okay? Now let's move on to the energy of Tuesday. Okay, so now we have the first tricky card in this 7-day spread. For some of you, there could be someone that's showing true colors, where maybe they initially seem like they were trustworthy, but they fall short on the promises. They say they're going to be there, but they're not. Or you legitimately see someone that's trying to get away with something. Trust in what you see. When someone shows their true colors, it is a blessing, even when it feels not so great, because you know exactly who you can and who you can't trust. And this might be a day of revelation where it's like, all right, that's not what I should be connecting with, this person, place, or thing. From the perspective of your own energy, it's a bit of a nudge from the universe to lead with integrity and authenticity. Sometimes it's the white lie that we tell to ourselves, like, I don't have to do this, no one will notice. They will notice. And also, it just isn't great when we were talking about the foundation. It's not great to build on this. When there's deception, a lie, or a half-truth at the beginning, the entire structure of whatever it is that you're building, it's just not going to last. So cut through the nonsense. If you need to get the advice of an expert, lawyer, etc., to redline something and highlight that this isn't what you talked about, please do that. Honesty, integrity, transparency. That's how you neutralize the energy of the Seven of Swords. And it's a reality check not to overextend yourself, make a promise that you can't keep, or do anything that is inauthentic, because if it doesn't show up today, it eventually will. It always does. And if we just kind of lead with that, not can I get away with it, shift the focus and think, when is this going to see the light of day? That is such a better way to live, because it eventually will see the light of day, okay? And then you have nothing to hide because you're already living in that energy of integrity, okay? Now, let's see what's coming through here at the midweek. We have 2 cards. We talked a bit about the independence factor in the Nine of Pentacles yesterday, so I'll highlight it again today. You don't have to do everything on your own, even if you can, even if you normally do. Again, partnership, advisory energy, etc. keeps coming through this week. Don't rush. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing right the first time. Nine of Pentacles, just like the Hangman in reverse, sometimes is trying to rush. The reason I mention that is normally we have a little snail. It's not on this card, but it's still a part of the energy, which is slow, steady, and self-sustaining. So don't rush. Lo and behold, right beneath it, we have the next card in the suit, the Ten of Pentacles. And this is the most unusual Ten of Pentacles because it looks like a discotheque, right? But I kind of like it. Normally on this, we see a pillar or an archway. We see all levels of family, like an elder, children, married couple, and basically it's representing all the stages of life. So what I'm getting from this is celebration, graduation. You're going through one of those either pivotal life moments, those milestones, or a soul milestone. So this is a great day to finish a task, to step into something new. You can do it with the help of others because, by the way, Ten of Pentacles is a community card, and it's a resource and work-related community card. So your literal community around you, neighbors, any sort of clubs or activities that you belong to. It can be coworkers, former classmates, current classmates, but people that are collectively working towards a better goal. Lean on them. Connect with them. It's a networking day. Hello, hello. This is a perfect day to get out there and have a strategic meeting. You may also have a family obligation because this is contractual, and family, as we enter into this lifetime, constitutes a contract. And so just like your mom says sometimes, you've got to go because it's your uncle and we have to go to this whatever. So that's kind of what this represents too. With this, though, boundaries might be necessary, and I do get this feeling of wanting some space in this larger group, so I get it. You're going to be fine, even if you have that sense of shyness or a need to kind of be more reserved. Maybe put a little bit of a deadline on how long you're going to go to any sort of engagement, whether it's networking, a wedding, or some sort of obligatory thing that someone says you have to go because you know this person. It's worth making the appearance, and you'll probably have more fun than you think, and they're going to be very happy that you came through. So sometimes you just have to do it. Overall, with the 9 of 10 of Pentacles, if you need something, this also is the day to ask, because that is a resource-rich day if I've ever seen it, okay? Lots and lots of Pentacles this week. We can take a step backward here and get some perspective and do some work on your own as we're looking at the energy of Thursday. So this is a building day, so we have a little beaver building a dam. Love it. The traditional card would show someone that is chiseling away at a bunch of pentacles, and it represents like production, but working on your own. So writing, editing, producing, organizing, building, a little bit more of an independent path, but also a path that is connected to education. So this is a great day to learn something new, to receive instruction, to immerse yourself into a task. Very work-oriented, very roll-up-your-sleeves sort of energy. I think it'll be a productive day, whatever you decide to set your mind to. The only thing that I get with this, because we have the illustration here that shows a dam, is there could be this sense of like an initial block that needs to be released. So change up where you work, change up how you work, change up the way that you think something can be done, or where you think it needs to happen. What if I went over here? What if I tried this? What if we extend the deadline a little bit? Once you get past the arbitrary mental block, then the flow, the dam, breaks, and you have all of this energy that naturally comes through. So a little bit of a nuance, which is you could be creating or working with an arbitrary block. Remove the block and all things look good, okay? Now, as we take a look here at Friday, another encouragement to come out of your shell. We have the Hermit card in the reverse position, and there's a time and a place to pull back, and I feel like there's been opportunities this week to do so, but more so like probably Thursday is the day where you can work on your own. But there comes a point where it's good to share what you're working on, what you're thinking about with someone else to get that perspective, and that's part of this. This also is connected with education. So again, heavy learning energy coming through on Thursday and Friday. The Hermit is saying also don't sort of limit where you can be. And this could apply to anything from like where you could work, where you could live, where you might be seeking partnership, friendship, or love. The space is more limited or closed off than it needs to be, and we're looking at more expansion in that space. Some of you are just a little bit lonely, and you're looking for a way to not feel alone. And if that's the case, so many different ways to connect, including volunteer work, getting involved with the community, etc. It's not all about love. Sometimes we're just looking for like-minded individuals or friendship, and that's definitely part of that. But overall, the Hermit is kind of like Gandalf, if you will, in the major arcana. Wise, self-sufficient, and able to make things work. So lean on your inner magician and know that you're going to be able to make this happen. You might just be feeling like you're a little bit in the dark, because the Hermit is the light in the dark. So once you think to yourself, I'm going to figure this out, everything starts to open up. Everything starts to feel better, okay? Let me take a quick drink, and then we're going to look at the energy that's coming through for next weekend. All right, so as we take a look at the energy for this upcoming Saturday, we have a really great card in the King of Pentacles. This is the sort of like high point of the week. Things are starting to come together. You're starting to feel a little bit more solid and grounded. Any of the eclipse energy is out of your head, and it's like everything is aligned. This is a perfect day to work on anything that you want to set your mind to step into a leadership position, to also take care of yourself because it is a paternal card, and really look at your money situation. If there's a contract to sign, if there's a purchase to make, this day is highlighted as extremely favorable. If you have something to share, it's also a great day to share. We're not looking just at resources, time, or energy, but there might also be, like, again, an announcement or something of that nature. Throwing a party, by the way, also good. We saw Wednesday being a great day for a party. This is also a great day for a gathering, connection, a meeting, or a party. 1 week from today, we have the moon coming through, and the moon card is in the upright position. So the message here is, as we can see, it's okay to go a little bit deeper and to dig into something that you want to. The fear, the anxiety, etc. may still be present, but you're actually aligned for this path or this opportunity. This is an unusual moon card. Normally we would have a dog and a wolf. We would have a path. We would have the moon behind it. The reminder with this is the answer for you, the path for you, is somewhere between what has been dictated and what your heart tells you. You're going to have to navigate within the system, but there's wiggle room. And there'll come a point where you're just ready to go for it. So I love that she's diving in and grabbing whatever her dream, goal, or aspiration is. So don't be afraid. You've done the work throughout the week to hopefully release the fear. The only thing here is this is a partner card with 7 of Swords. So 7 of Swords is one of 4 cards that hang out together. 7 of Swords, 5 of Swords, Moon, and the Devil. So there could be a lesser version of 7 of Swords that pops up. Someone that, it's kind of like if a kid, you tell them like, no more snacks, no more cookies, and you catch them going to the cookie jar. It's that kind of thing. A little sneaky, a little bit like testing the boundaries. There could be someone in your life that also is testing your boundaries. You tell someone, please don't call me after 8, I need to rest, and they text you at 8:04 or something like that. So reestablishing boundaries, not giving in, making sure that you repeat. You might have to repeat something for it to be listened to, and someone needs to see that you mean business. And the previous day is all about that. So this was the establishing of the boundaries, and this is someone testing them. I'm just getting that little kid sneaking around. That's also kind of 7 of Swords energy, but it's coming back in a gentle form. And I chose a kid because it's kind of innocent. They're not trying to cause harm, but they're used to getting away with things. So there might be someone in your life that's used to it because you're kind. You need to make sure that you're consistent in boundaries. That's the message for the moon. Okay, let's look at highlights. Let's look at challenges, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so the highlights of the week. I mean, I really love the energy collectively of Wednesday and Thursday. It's all Pentacles. It's all good Pentacles cards. And then we have a culmination of that on Sunday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, or Saturday rather. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, correction. All are very, very good for business, personal development, opening up resources, and getting past blocks. This is the unblocking day, Thursday. I also think that like the hidden gem day would be Monday. Things are closer than you think, but it's about taking your time. The challenges for many of you could be today, because this is an emotionally charged card, and it could be Tuesday and Sunday because of the 7 of Swords and the Moon. Overall, pretty manageable week. Love what I see here. So why don't we move forward to the elemental forecast for today, where we take a closer look at fire, earth, air, and water. I'm going to keep these cards to the side just in case I need to reference them. And let's use a different deck for this. Okay. Yeah, I did see the lotuses on that card. The lotuses there represent working through the muck, the dirt, all of that sort of nonsense to get to something higher. So I do feel like it's a very elevated energy towards the end of the week. Don't be afraid to go into the depths. That's why that they came through as well. All right, focusing now on the elements. Fire, earth, air, water. All right, they're all reversed, but we're going to read them as upright, even though I shuffled. And I'm going to talk about how to make sure that you don't give in to any sort of temptation or blocks that might create the reversal. So let's begin with fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We have the Strength card. Ultimately, this is very, very positive. A reversal of strength can represent exhaustion, fatigue, or control getting in the way, this need to control someone else. But if we elevate it to the upright version, it's saying, I can manage anything that comes my way. So in this deck, she's taming a bear. And as we know, bears and lions are just as fierce. I wouldn't want to be in the path of either unless I felt like it was a safe and sort of tame bear. So you can handle whatever's in your path, but it always boils down for me with the Strength card to how long you want to have to kind of have that energy of watching your back or pushing things, because there is a little bit of struggle with the Strength card. So fight this fight and then think, what can I do in the future to make sure that it doesn't always have to be so difficult? We want more equity, and we don't need a place where someone's trying to put words in your mouth, or you're trying to put words in their mouth, or you're trying to force commitment. Like, are you done? Or can I count on you? Text me when you get there. You know, all of that kind of stuff that kind of indicates a lack of faith on the other person's part. So sometimes you have to let people just fall or fail so that they can learn from that experience. And this might be an example of that. Even though you can save them from getting a bump, a bruise, or an experience, figuratively speaking, they may learn more from the failure than from the protection. For yourself, use your strength wisely. Instead of trying to help everyone else, help yourself this week and recharge, refresh, and really restore all of that, okay? If you have to have a difficult negotiation, you've got this. But I think that whatever it is that you're doing this week, it'll cost a little bit more energetically than you might imagine. So build in a day of rest, a day of reflection. And for those of you that are between major things, like a big project or a job or a relationship, the rebounding energy is something to be mindful of, because sometimes we're not fully healed or ready for the next thing. So just build in rest and reflection this week and you should be fine. But ultimately, divine feminine energy, able to sort of like get past any obstacle in her way, but please take care of yourself. That's the sort of like two sides of the stone. Okay, let's move on from Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, all the fire signs, to Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Two of Cups. Okay, it has to be mutual. So the fact that this was initially reversed is saying, do you feel the same way? Some of you are wondering if someone is liking what you're doing in a job, in a relationship, in life. Validation, I picked up on that earlier in the channeled messages. So anywhere that you can validate, great. If you need validation or clarity, ask. There could also be someone that comes through this week and expresses interest and it takes you by surprise. You've done the work. If someone comes in and wants to recognize you, thank you, yes. Accept, embrace, and celebrate the fact that people are seeing you as a valuable person in their life. So there could be recognition, partnership, or opportunity that's knocking. There could be a little bit of self-doubt for some of you. And if it isn't mutual, then say so. The Moon and the Seven of Swords this week really are all about honesty, and it's being honest with yourself and honest with others. There also might be someone in your life that is interested, but they're shy, or they're not sure if you're interested too. So don't be afraid to signal back. Don't play hard to get. I think all of these things are really important, okay? Let's move on from the earth signs to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Things are starting to move in the right direction or move forward. We have the Knight of Wands here. Knight of Wands representing a little bit more passion, a little bit more fire, a little bit more, again, movement in general. Someone may also be showing a little bit more what they feel. So we get all of that positivity and momentum. With all of the Knights, as long as you are in alignment and it's what you wanted to focus on, you're going to continue to see progress. So I quite like what I see with this. Demonstrate, be demonstrative, show people what you want. And sometimes the showing is more accurate and impactful than lots and lots of words. Trust in your ability to just sketch it out or point to a real life example. That might speak volumes and might help someone get on the same page as you. But be ready for things to be busy this week. One thing with, if this, because it came through reverse, you want to think about is if you are too narrow-minded, it's like having horse blinders on since we have a horse. It's not able to see the periphery. So I'd love for you to look around. What is that person doing? What's going on with someone else in the same field? Am I missing something in my life that I need to be paying attention to? Slow down long enough to take in the scenery. That's what I'm picking up, okay? Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, another Knight, even faster moving. So this is the fastest moving card in the deck. And we have, well, it's not even a real animal here. As I look at it, it's kind of like an imaginary ox or something. But normally we would just have a Knight charging through the air. So what's going on this week is there's a lot of fast flying conversations. There could be an email that gets lost in the shuffle. The reversal of this could be someone that's cutting you off or that didn't read everything before acting. So check assumptions before moving forward. Think before you act. Listen more than you speak. And make sure that you like the direction in which you're headed. I've mentioned this before. If you're lost or you don't like what you're doing, moving faster doesn't get you closer to your goal. It just gets you further down a path that feels uncomfortable. So course correct for both of these nights. Course correct in real time. If you have a question, ask. If it doesn't feel right, stop. If you need to fix something, fix it. Do it now. The time you save by addressing it now is so important because, again, think of it as a house of cards. If one of the cards is pulled out, it all falls apart. Or if something's unstable, it's all going to fall down. So you really want to make sure that the foundation is firm, as we talked about earlier. On the bright side, if you have an announcement, if you say something, if you speak something into existence this week, the action that follows through is pretty surprising. Like word travels quickly. Also make sure that when you communicate that you're communicating in a pleasant way, because that also could get back to the source. So we want to elevate communication and trust that it's going to take off in a fast way. All right? So let's see how many of you are feeling. I put a little poll up. I was curious how this sort of full moon and eclipse is affecting you, and many of you are optimistic. It's almost an even split between optimistic and overwhelmed. So as we take a look at the cards today, let's see what we can do to get on either side of that Nine of Cups moment. I get it. For me too. And I think that's pretty normal in this sort of type of energy. All right, so we're going to go into the special topic right now. Time traveling telegram advice from a future you. Let me see what I want to use on this. All right, not that deck. I think I'm just going to do the light seers here because it's here and it's good for this. Okay. Let's get started. Take a moment, please, and close your eyes. Let's invite angel spirit guides and ascended masters into a circle of light that is around our body. Know that you are protected and connected in that circle of light. Let's focus now on seeing what we need to see. And here's how this works. So by the way, I was going to set this up a little bit, which is I've had many instances where I can see something happening in the future and it wakes me up from a dream, or I just get this feeling like you need to stop, you need to do this instead. That's advice from a future you. And I always see like spicy comments sometimes like, I don't understand how this is going to work. That's it. It's basically tapping into the memory bank that is in our soul, that we can access our past memories. We can also access some of our future memories. So this is the idea that what if I'd only known? Okay, great. Let's see what you should be focusing on, but maybe you're not focusing on. And so future you is going to be a little bit more direct on things that it wants you to avoid. And so I'll try to carry that same level of directness. Okay? Seven of Swords making another appearance. Very interesting. We're going to leave that there because that's exactly where the card fell, even though I pulled it later. All right, let's get started with your catalyst for this special topic. Future you coming through saying, here's what I want you to focus on. So we have the bat, which is like the hanged man. It's in reverse Because if you think of how the bat hangs, it's like a hanged man. So it says insight, sensitivity, and darkness. So yesterday I mentioned that we never really do the shadow readings. So look at yesterday's reading. It was all about, literally that's the title, working through the shadow, right? So I mentioned in that we are both light and dark. We are positive energy. We are fear and anxiety. We find some sort of a middle ground as we navigate through this 3D life. And so it's important to look at the things that spark that fear or that anxiety or jealousy or desire so that we can figure out what it's trying to show us. Because it's wherever there's a shadow, there's light. So we just need to get to the source and what's blocking the light source. And that's what's casting the shadow. So we'll look at that today. There's something blocking the light or there's something impeding you from the light. And if we don't deal with it, it just stays there. Some of the things that could be triggering some of this could be hypersensitivity or dealing with a loss, like something has gone on in your life, loss of a friend, loss of property, loss of a relationship, and it hurts, right? So we have to deal with healing the heart space. And then for some of you, it's just about finding the information and the insight to help you get past this feeling of lack of control or fear. So when I'm afraid of something, I typically will start to educate myself on what are the options? What have other people like me done before? How has that fared for them? And by doing this research, I feel less alone. I feel like I know that there's more than one path in front of me and the fear dissipates. So future you wants you to pay attention to what's blocking the light, wants you to talk to some other people or educate yourself on the alternatives, and slow down for a moment too, because it's okay to hang out where you're at. Hanged man is enlightenment. It's a block, a necessary block, that helps you see another avenue, that also helps you fully learn and graduate this lesson so it doesn't repeat. So if cyclically you keep meeting the same person, getting the same type of job, attracting the same type of financial challenge, there's something now that needs to be healed once and for all. Because future you is like, I don't want us to have to do this. Let's stop it now. So that's what we're showing up for today. All right, let's see what's going on in the middle. We have the Hermit card showing that you have the wisdom, the strength, and the wherewithal to make this happen. Interestingly enough, there is a fierce independence in this Hermit. She's kind of like floating above. She's left the lantern behind. We can look at this in two different ways. One is traditional methods won't work. So she's finding her own light. She's finding her own sort of like way to make this happen because she's singular. She's one in a million, right? That's kind of what I'm getting with this. So if you need to do that, great. But there could also be another person that's ready to sort of help you out. Seeking an advisor, seeking mentorship could also help. But sometimes when you're private, when you're a little shy, when you're a little uncertain, a hermit and a hermit have a hard time connecting. So don't be afraid to be the one to initiate that connection. It could be very valuable. But I kind of see like two shy people wanting to connect. And you might need to find the inner voice in that situation, which is nicely connected to the Queen of Swords on top of this. So for some of you, it's not that you can't do it, it's that you haven't had to do it in a while. So Queen of Swords is coming through saying, just ask, just speak it into possibility, maybe into existence. This is a really great time for using the written and spoken word because it is magic. Words are magic. I talked about that in a previous reading. And I had seen someone on TikTok talking about how it's like every little word we speak is a spell, whether you think of it or not. But like, it's interesting, sort of like when we look at vocabulary, that we say don't curse. Like when you say a negative, like a lower frequency word, any of your 4-letter favorites, we call it cursing, right? Because it's sharp, it's low frequency. Many of them end in hard letters, and the result, especially when you point to someone and say this is about you, it's meant to evoke negativity in them. It's a curse, right? Just a little word curse. But the same thing goes for the opposite end of the spectrum. I love you versus I hate you is another example. The middle word is the spell. The rest of it, we're looking at pronouns and verbs, and we're attaching things together. But it's that middle word, really the verb, that is the spell. So I want you to pay attention to how you're using your words, because you could either be blessing or cursing yourself and others. So with vocabulary, because words are magic. There's the whole mythology behind the Hanged Man is Odin, on his own volition, decided to hang upside down from his foot. That's why he's hanging from his foot. It's not a noose. So that he could learn the secret of the runes. And then he learned these magical letters or inscriptions that carried with them power. So our own words have similar power to heal, to hurt, to inspire, and to break down. You see it on an everyday basis. Songs, political conversations, literature, medical documents, like you can inform, you can break down, you can inspire, all of that. So use your words in a way that build, that inspire, that heal, that connect. Future you says, why waste your breath on other stuff? You could, but it's not the best use of your words. Use your words, as parents would say, wisely. Okay? All right. So we got a bonus card, and we're going to look at the bonus first. Disbelief. If I had to summarize this in one word, disbelief. And knowing that something needs to be done but not doing it. Procrastination and disbelief. Future you is like, why? You can see what you need to do. Don't doubt yourself. Also, it's going to be better on the other side. This is a bridge card. So normally you would see souls rising up from the dead. We still have that here. There's also a trumpet in this card, which is a call to action. So future you is calling you into action and saying, on a soul level, on a heart level, on an intuitive level, before you tuned in today's reading, you had this idea, I'm ready for this, I want to do this, or I'm done with this. I want you to trust the instinct that you already had and then decide, now what? So you surrender to the validity of the instinct, and then you decide, okay, what am I going to do about it? And then you ground that into existence. So you're sitting on a possibility, but disbelief or procrastination is holding you back from the action. Future you is sick of that. And it's saying, let's just do it. Let's do it. Come on. Let's move forward. If you want something, go for it. Speak up. Pages are communicative. No one knows until you ask. Everybody wants someone to come to them. Sometimes you just have to be the initiator of a conversation. And I found that in life a lot of times if I just ask and do so with clarity, with kindness, with authenticity, that's all that is necessary to initiate at least the conversation. And you never know until you have that conversation, okay? Honesty is so important. Honesty and integrity. All right, so we have the Seven of Swords. This could be people around you, environments around you. And this could be the future. I always like this card because the bird makes me laugh. It is making some noise. Sometimes you have to be this squawking crow or raven in the foreground saying, I've had enough. I don't think so. And that's okay. So maybe you're just speaking up and putting that line in the sand. So the elevated version of this is you see the Seven of Swords situation. We've seen it a few times in the spread today. And you're like, I'm done with this. Good for you. You know what you want. You see what's not worth your time and energy. It's in the past in this Celtic Cross. So let the past be in the past. Okay, so especially in the case of an ex or a former job or a friend that's flaky or a situation where time and again they come through as this character sneaking around in the background. Future you is this crow, and this is the thing that you need to avoid. Don't do it. Historically, it hasn't worked out. The person, the environment, whatever, it's not trustworthy. So listen to the crow that is future, the future you that's just saying, stop it. I'm not going to try to do a raven caw, but that's kind of what I'm hearing in my head is this bird squawking and just saying, why are we doing this again? So we're not going to do it again. the ex, the bad job, the friend that flakes, whatever. Also, we're not going to try to please everybody moving forward, because this can also be making promises that you know you can't keep. Even if they're well-intentioned, they still constitute Seven of Swords, okay? So I need to take a drink because future you is making me thirsty here with all of this sassiness. I actually like this kind of reading because, you know, I tend to be very measured, kind, and neutral, but if I'm channeling a future you, a lot of times it's sort of saying, let's not make this mistake. So we have to get a little bit more direct, just like the shadow reading yesterday. So it's fun from time to time to just be a little bit more pointed in what needs to be done. It helps us. Okay, crowning position. It's the light bulb moment. So we have the Page of Wands. It's taking the ace that is the light bulb, and it's basically putting it into the socket and flipping the switch. And that's what this is. It's follow through. So you have the tools, you have the current, the electricity, but you're going to have to still be the one flipping the switch, sending the email, picking up the phone, even though we're kind of doing Page of Swords. It's some of that too, or showing like, hey, let's do this, pointing in the right direction. This is also setting things into motion, having some fun and working your magic. Wands are wands, like wizards and witches after all. So this is also about making sure that you're putting it into a practice. It's called a spiritual practice for a reason. You have to practice in order to sharpen it. I strongly believe everybody is capable of learning and expanding, whether it's in your artistic ability, your reading ability, whatever. Doesn't mean that everyone's going to have the same proficiency, but those that work harder sometimes can get to the same level as someone that has natural gifts and can succeed beyond the person that's naturally gifted that doesn't work hard enough. So this is an instance where the hard work pays off and can get you further than someone that's naturally gifted. It's about how much passion you're putting into it. That will set you apart. And so never second guess your ability, because your passion and your delivery of your whatever it is you're working on, whatever your special sauce is, that is actually more important than how good it is. And we see this every day in movies, music, books, people leveling up at work or whatever. Like, it's sometimes just the right person at the right place with the right amount of passion or connections, and it comes together. So never think that you can't get it because someone else is better than you. Just show up and work your magic. So the future you, if we summarize this, wants you to have confidence in yourself and know that the boldness and the delivery is just as important, if not more so, than the skill level. Because you can listen to someone confidently telling you false information, and there's something about it that's compelling. So it's the delivery. You've got to believe in yourself. Let's not deliver false info. We don't want that. Future you already told you that. But if you can confidently deliver good information, you can get further, farther, faster. Okay. There are two sides to every story. So justice in reverse is asking you to look at that. So before stepping forward, listen to both sides. Be level-headed about it. Don't discount your worth. Don't accept less than your worth as well. And if you need to say no, say no. So the Justice card in the upright position, she's kind of passive. She's tuning in. She feels it out. She knows what's right. But what I love about Justice reverse is she absolutely knows she doesn't want that. And I really want you to look at how awake she is. She's saying, no, we're not going to do that. So if you really know that it's wrong, speak up. It's hard sometimes to get that word out, but it's important to know. Queen of Swords is like a lawyer. So if you need help, you can also lean on a lawyer, a mediator, a third party to communicate that line in the sand. Fight for what's right. And if there is something legally wrong with a situation, maybe now is the time that you decide to litigate, or at the very least, you're saying, never again, we're not going to do this. So you're getting very clear on right and wrong. You're getting very clear on boundaries, and you're choosing things that bring better balance into your life, okay? And looking at even the stuff that you didn't want to see, because that was part of this. We have to also look at the not so pretty side of things so that we can understand how we got there. Okay? All right. How are you showing up? Pretty good. So future you says you are primed at this moment to receive something better. Could be friendship, could be good news. In this one, I think we have like, a little tiny love letter in the corner. So usually I would associate positive news with like the page card or the ace, but the knight could be the delivery of this. So there might be someone coming through giving you the good news. This is a great time to delve deeper into creative endeavors, to focus a little bit more on relationships, to really focus on the self-healing energy that I mentioned before you rebound, before you move forward. I think we've gotten most of the knights so far. We're just maybe missing one. But suffice it to say, things are moving quickly and you just need to feel it out and feel good about it before moving forward. The other thing is I'm getting like an old Billy Joel song popping through my head, Just the Way You Are. So you shouldn't have to change to please a company, a friend, a society, or whatever it is you're trying to get into. They should love you just the way you are, because that's what Spirit piped into my head. Like I was at some sort of old, it's kind of like I'm hearing it through the door of something else. So it's a reminder that you're good at, you're more than enough. Not good enough, you're more than enough. And someone around you may be trying to change you, but you have to be authentic to yourself. Okay? Good message there, good reminder. Okay, so let's take a look at the environment here. We have the Six of Wands. Good stuff. So this is representing success around you. So there could be someone in your life that just achieved great success. Remember that like attracts like. So you're also on the precipice of accomplishing a goal, vision, etc. We see all of the hands in this card reaching, grabbing, wanting. So when you are on that precipice of success, it's no accident that the next card is Seven of Wands, pushing back. So remember, boundaries keep coming through. Have good boundaries. Focus on doing the right thing, not just the popular thing, and know that you're en route to accomplishing a vision, a goal, a dream, a desire, etc. Okay? So that's pretty good. And if you were wondering, can I do it? Yeah, it's already written. Future you is saying it's there. And in fact, we have, this is all good, by the way. So the Knight of Cups, like I said, could be a delivery of good news because we had that little love note. We see success in the environment, then we see the world, then we see the Ten of Wands. It's all advancement, so I like it. Hopes, fears, and opportunities, the world. So the fear part of this is I'm afraid to step into the unknown. I'm afraid to step through this and have to start something fresh because I was used to whatever it was I was working on or focusing on. Things can only expand and get brighter. Just imagine that there could be something greater than or equal to what you just got through, okay? It might be time to move up, on, or out, some sort of shift so that you're not stagnating. This is also a chance to release, publish, or distribute something, and now is the time, or ostensibly within the next month or so. It feels like you're holding on to something longer than you need to, and it's time to step through the portal that is the World card here, okay? Good stuff. The outcome also associated with travel and movement is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands represents, in this particular illustration, being on the other side, but you may still be going up the hill. Either way, don't feel the need to carry the burden alone. In fact, in this illustration, instead of putting the weight on her back, she's working with an ox. We keep seeing oxes and bulls, or oxen and bulls. So lots of Taurus energy floating around here as well. Some of you have Taurus placements. But the bull in general represents the ability to sort of dig your hooves in and say, I'm going for this, and I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to be successful. Thinking of a bull market, it's things can only go up. So we don't want to think in reductive or scarcity mentality. We want to think in expansive, growth-oriented things, even if we have to, using vocabulary. Let's say you need to downsize. Why don't we say simplify? Let's use a different word to articulate what we're doing. I need to simplify my life so that I can open myself up for other things, so that I can focus on what matters. That's a different way to say you're downsizing. Like you're going into a smaller house or something. You're putting your energy on other things. So I'd like you to really focus on ways to simplify, reduce, delegate, so that you can move on to the next thing. Because you might have been focusing and caring too much. So now is the time for simplification, clarification, and that will help you be more impactful in the long run. But you may be ready to go to the next stage or phase, particularly with the double whammy that is the World and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so we're going to expand this forecast now and take a deeper dive into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off first with the card of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. For this one, displacement came through. How fascinating. I didn't know I was going to use this card, but I mentioned like feeling like you were discarded. I saw like the trash or recycling bin, and there might have been an end to something, a premature end, and you're not happy with it. And that's okay. You're allowed to be not happy with it. If you were made redundant, fired, if a contract ended, if a friendship fizzled, if a person ghosted you, if a relationship ended, if someone divorced you, any number of things in your life could represent an end that you didn't choose. This includes, like, again, death or loss of someone in your life. You're allowed to feel like, that isn't what I signed up for. That isn't what I want. I feel displaced. I feel like I'm out in the cold. This is also kind of connected to like Five of Pentacles energy. There is always something better, and there's a new balance that wants to come through. But the first thing that is necessary is finding a way to heal through that rejection. For at least 11 years, I've been saying rejection is protection, though. It's not fun. We're not going to sugarcoat it, rather. But the silver lining to this is that usually it's nudging you, not this. That's what spirit is doing and future you is doing. I'm sorry that it stings, but this will be a better path instead. So let's see how we can help you get healthier here. Again, I need to take another drink. I'm getting dehydrated as I'm doing all of this. By the way, before we move forward, not all is lost, and it's not as bad as you think. This is not this card's a mess, but look what the birds are doing. They're recycling. So one of the things that I love about crows and ravens, and especially if we go to like vultures, they clean things up, even pigeons. Now, pigeons make a mess, though, with their droppings, but it's all right. But most of the birds, they're out there cleaning up the streets, taking little bits of things and eating them or making nests. So there is a chance to pick up the pieces a little bit, and not all is lost. You're gonna have more than you think in the long run. So make sure that you're not throwing it all out, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, etc. Okay. Now let's take a look at just general health notes before we move on to the next section. Okay. This is a wake-up call. Judgment in reverse can be something that happens where you know that I can't do that anymore. Close call. Maybe the doctor even says you have to stop this because of your family history or because you barely got through this. So we want to listen to our higher self, which is literally what this card is representing. You've got more ahead of you, so let's take care of yourself so that you have, the battery and the wherewithal to enjoy all that the world wants to bring through. Take better care of yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, with your partner, with your doctor. There might be a habit that you're holding on to, and it's connected to this judgment card. It could be as innocuous as caffeine. It could be a little bit heavier, like nicotine, drinking, or an addiction. Whatever it is, it feels like you're ready, but you have to fully be ready and say, I'm going to do this. And if you're not fully ready, it's not going to stick. So the sooner you can see that something doesn't serve you, the better. It's not for everyone, but for those that need to hear that, that's what I'm putting out there. All right. Now we have judgment and justice. everybody can relate to this on some levels. There is an inner knowing, but there needs to be a decision and an action and an acceptance of that. So we all know that there's something that we need to do right now that's going to move us in a better direction. Are you ready? So if you're ready, like, put it into action. Acceptance is a big piece of this too. Also accepting that there's a new norm. So for any of you that have had an injury in your life, whether it's like a broken bone or something a little bit more permanent where it's like, all right, I can't do what I used to do, but I can still do a lot, and I can compensate in this way and this way. So this is my new norm. And as much as I want to go back to the old norm, I'm going to do everything that I can to live the fullest life, and again, maybe even grow some of my other senses or other abilities. So embracing that and making the best of it, making lemonade from lemons, might be part of this. And it's saying, I can't change that, but I can change every choice moving forward. So this was a choice that was made. These are the choices you're making. And future you is saying, just make smarter choices moving forward. That's all. And don't beat yourself up on the past. It is already in the past. We can only control now and next. There may be too much of a focus on what others think, too much of a focus on work, too much of a focus on community. You really want to focus on self right now, like self-healing, self-help, health and wellness and well-being. 10 of Wands. It's like lower back pain or neck pain, but it's not as sharp as the 10 of Swords, and it can be the 10 of Swords can be avoided. So don't push yourself. We don't want to go to the point of exhaustion. If you are moving, hire someone to help. Get friends to help, or take many small trips. Balance in all aspects of your life is important. Everything in moderation is the key with this. Okay? All right, let's move forward. We'll go on now from health to wealth. So in wealth, we have wisdom. The center card is the Hermit, so that nicely connects to that. For some of you, it's about listening to your wisdom, your inner wisdom. For some of you, you might be seeking out counsel on any facet of your career. Let's break it down a little bit and look at those of you that are currently working and see what's coming through. All right, there's an interesting thing. Judgment reversed, justice reversed, and the World card. Some of you have already decided that you're ready for something different. So you're either going to move up or move on. If you want to move up, get that in writing, please, because it feels like there's been a handshake before and no action on it. This is annoying in a present employment situation. Yes, you're going to get that promotion, or yes, we're going to get you that title. Oops, we didn't make it happen. Like that 7 of Swords, or, oh, we had to give it to this less qualified, newer person for no apparent reason. You're going to get it in a contractual form, or you're going to find a back pocket option and be ready to call your bluff. It's hard nowadays, though. Like, I know that the job market is not the best right now. So you want to have that back pocket option before you decide to go somewhere else, and you want to be ready to take it. So you have to be willing to call your bluff. But with the 7 of Swords, if someone keeps falling short, I think it's time to explore. Even if it takes a year or two to find the perfect match, like, start the journey now. And it doesn't necessarily have to take that long. I'm just saying there's no rush. So it might be time to be looking at the long-term goal. That's why I mentioned that amount of time. And don't just trust a handshake. And if you need to get legal advice on how to make sure that you're getting what you deserve, do that. Okay? If we take that out of the mix, here's what I see. There's just a lot on your plate. So this is not overcommitting yourself. Let's say everything is good, because these are all positive cards. The only thing that can hold you back is saying, yeah, I'll get that done, when you can't, and then someone judges you because of, failing to do that. So we don't want that to happen. People are interested in what you have to say, so speak up. Travel may be a necessity in this period of time for advancement. It also might be advantageous if you need to solve or resolve an issue. You may also want a mediator in this period of time as well. But what I love right now is 6 of Wands, World, and 10 of Wands. So I'd like you to secure that if you want it by getting it in writing. Okay? So let's just make sure that that's a part of it if it's something that you're interested in. What you're doing well is interfacing, networking, and communicating with others. Okay. For those that are entrepreneurs, be honest. If you missed a deadline, if something's changing, better to just come forward. I studied in my undergraduate public relations as one of my sort of like focal points. And with any sort of PR disaster, it's better to come out early, to be honest, and to steer the situation rather than play catch up, rather than hide it under the rug. So just come out and say, we messed up. This is how we're going to address it. It won't happen again. Like, that's it. Not a lot of people do that. We don't see accountability and integrity much anymore. This is more like in public figures sometimes. They just keep saying so many things that are false that you don't know what's true. That's not very good. I mean, I guess the playbook has changed, but historically it's better just to say, this was the problem, this is how we're addressing it, and this is why and how it won't happen again. People just want to know, like, okay, good. And by the way, we're sorry, and this is how we're going to make reparations. You can move on to the next news item then. So if there is something that you need to deal with, that's the advice. Lead with integrity, be honest, be transparent, have an action plan, state it. This is communicating that from a place of wisdom and making sure that you're righting a wrong. There may be someone in your company that you need to talk to, because if they've done something wrong, Seven of Swords, justice reversed, you need to check in and see if it was because they weren't clear on it, and also give them a once and final warning, like, that's it. Everyone gets a warning, but this was something you can't repeat. So whether it was a misstep from you or a misstep from others, we want to clear that up. For everyone else, it might just be time to look at reorganizing the company. There may be something where you thought it was going to go one way, but it's going in a new direction. Get it sorted. So we're looking at potential legal reorganization here. So going from an LLC to a C Corp or something like that, I don't know. A reorganization could make sense from a financial perspective too, so be that as it may. What I like here is once you sort this, we have loyal customer base, a chance to launch or produce something. Everything looks rosy on this side. Literally, you're coming up roses with this, right? So we want to sort out whatever needs to be sorted out first so it doesn't impede on the rosy future. And for some of you, you're just doing too much. And you need to be honest with yourself too, okay? Job seekers. Since we have two cards connected to travel and moving, I mean, that's actually the outcome here is there might be a necessary move on the horizon to make this happen. It could just be simplifying your life, as I talked about, saying, so that I can get the kind of job that I want, I'm going to downsize a little bit or simplify a little bit so I don't have to work as many hours. So you might be looking at trade-offs in that perspective. And I'm behind that. That makes sense. Can you find something? Yes. We have the Page of Wands here. So people are interested in what you have to do. It looks like there's at least one in-person interview or one significant interview. But here's the thing. There is a rejection first. So we have 3 cards here that are not so good, and then we have many cards that are good. So Judgment in reverse. There's been something in the past here. I feel like you've already said no to it. The money was there, but it wasn't worth the money. There's another place where they flake, or you've read some reviews where it's just a bad morale. And there's another one that just said no. So I see some recent no's, but I see a yes, but it's connected to a different location. Or travel, or telework. Specifically because of the World and the Ten of Wands, they're very focused on distance. So, or a different industry, so you're gonna try something different. So make sure that you're looking at different ways to wrap together your skill set, because you might be able to do something completely, it seems like it's off the wall, but it isn't. I remember one of my best English professors was a former lawyer, and that was where I learned my AP English. And she would read your research papers like a lawyer. And I remember it was the first time I ever struggled to get a good grade in an English class because that was easy for me. And it hurt to get, maybe even got like a B minus. I used to always get A's or A pluses in English, but she was really specific on what she was looking for. And I never learned more than I did in that class because she really pushed you to be your best. And I appreciated that there was a lawyer that came through that decided that they wanted to teach because they were fair, they were clear, and they were specific. And so she, of course, already had good communication skills. You need that to be a lawyer, but she wanted to give back to the next generation. So that's an example of repurposing skills. You wouldn't always, I mean, really, JD, lawyers can go into any sort of like career that they want to, but that was an example of, wow, okay, cool. So, and I'm not doing, well, I kind of am, but not what I initially thought I'd be doing. So we always pivot and try new things. Don't put yourself into that prison of thought of what's possible, okay? Let's move on to students. Students. I feel like some of you, there might be some of you that are deciding to go back to school. And it might be non-traditional students that I'm looking at first, especially with the Queen of Swords. So maybe you had to pause school because you started a family or you were taking care of a loved one or the money wasn't there at the time. Now you have the focus. One thing that I want to work on for the non-traditional students first, and I very rarely channel that first, but I'm getting it. You will do it. Not you can do it, you will do it this time because you have more life experience and more commitment. And oftentimes that makes you a better student and a better learner. So this time, whatever time it is a charm because it's all success, okay? So if you failed before, if you stopped before, if you had a class that you couldn't pass it before, find a different teacher, find a different institution, find a different path, but try it again. So also with that, let's say there was a fail, like you failed a class. One thing that I did when I was in my undergraduate was because it was cheaper and because I knew that I would be able to get more one-on-one, I took some business and mathematics classes at a community college in the summer, and I transferred them back to my main institution because I knew that I would be able to not be so stressed, that it was like an elective or a requisite, but like not part of my major. And I thought, let's not get stressed out during the regular school year. Let's do it in the summer. I did 2 different summer semesters taking these classes, and it was so much easier, and I could focus a lot more, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do that at a larger school because I had had trouble before on some of these subjects. So change up how you're learning and where you're learning if you need to, and then transfer it like I did, or get a tutor if you need to. But you may need to structure the schedule a little bit different because I am getting, for some of you, a different learning style. And so know your style and find where that will work and transfer if you need to, okay? Maybe transferring to a different institution overall, too. Some of you were like, that didn't work. I didn't like that place. Or it wasn't what I signed up for. It didn't match the brochure. So you might be looking to go to a completely different school, or you're changing your major. Once you do that, things look good. Some of you also are just getting ready to graduate, and there's some questions or insecurities coming through. This is where you want to lean on the wisdom of someone else. Ultimately, silver lining, good news, rainbows and unicorns, everything looks good here. I mean, no matter what we're looking at, you're headed in the right direction as long as you don't let these old things from the past get in the way, okay? All right, so let's go ahead now and let's see, one last thing, retirees, and then we'll move forward. So for retirees, there is wanderlust. Some of you want to travel. Some of you want to simplify, move, or sell a house. It looks like it's a good time to do that, but don't take the first offer, and make sure that you have a good legal contract before entering into that. What I see here, for those of you that might be selling a house, I don't know why it's coming through, but it is. But 1 or 2 buyers may fall out for financial reasons, for background checks, or they're just cherry picking their own offers. So make sure that you have protections in place so that doesn't happen. I have a friend that's, it doesn't always work the same in different countries. Like I know in some countries, you put down a non-refundable sort of deposit for that very reason so that the seller is protected, but that's not always the case. So just make sure that you have protections in place for you if you're selling. because there could be a flaky buyer. I'm getting that for whatever reason. For everyone else, it could be a good time to travel, but make sure that you also get some travel insurance because there could be an unexpected delay on one of your trips, or make sure that you can cancel or reschedule your trip just in case there's a life event that comes up. We have the wake-up call card here, and also this is you saying, life is finite. I want to make choices that work for me now, and I need to do some things that are fun, and I really want to focus on the bucket list. All of those make sense. All right. Destiny. This is interesting because when I look at this, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. Like, I'm sure you've heard the phrase Little Miss Sunshine. It's not necessarily the best phrase. It's like someone who is optimistic to a fault, or like cloyingly or saccharinely kind of sweet. It's too sweet. So what we want to really lean on now is authentic you, authentic self. And listen, that was one that we were supposed to pull a card on anyway, because it almost won for the members, so I'll clarify this. If it doesn't feel right, you don't have to fake it. One thing that I love, by the way, I forgot to talk. We'll talk about the other message because I didn't look at the oracle card, but first let's finish this. So when I was a kid, I remember that parents used to force kids to give like their elders a hug. I think that's changed now, and I think that's good because we want to teach children that they have agency over their bodies, and if they don't feel good giving someone a hug, they shouldn't have to. Just like we shouldn't have to hug a stranger if we don't like it, or like if someone wants to come up and pet Apollo, they should ask me first, or see if the dog wants someone to come into their space. So I think it's good to not fake an emotion. And there's something about Little Miss Sunshine that is saying, don't fake the emotion if you don't feel the emotion. And don't feel like you have to put yourself in a space or a connection that isn't good for you. That being said, there is power to body language. So the flip side of this is pay attention. If you're giving a speech, if you're talking to someone new, pay attention to eye contact. I don't really look at chat when when I'm doing this too much because it distracts me and I need to like really just connect with you or the future you out there. So I try to keep good eye contact when I can. And I try to not bring any of my stress or energy into the reading. I meditate beforehand and I'm like, I'm here for you. And by doing that, I'm actually able to be more neutral. If I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm sad, I'm sad during the reading. But using body language to your benefit and leaving your nonsense at the door is kind of what this card is also bringing through. Ground yourself and don't dump energy on others. Don't let them dump it on you. And don't feel like you have to be someone that you're not, because people can see through it. Okay? One last note. I forgot to mention as we were looking at love. Actually, we didn't even get into love, so we're going to go into love now. I did it out of order. Let's look at love. I was like, we have another card there. That's why. For whatever reason, maybe because it's going to factor into love, I skipped over it. So for love, we have Wunjo coming through, joy, hope, and rebirth. By the way, judgment is rebirth. Second chances. Second chances and renewal is what I'm getting for love. So let's quickly look at the energy of love and relationships, which I don't know why I wanted to go in this order, but I did. Okay. For love and relationships, quickly focusing on what you need to look at here. Okay. Karma is playing a big part here. So for some of you, there is a karmic cycle around honesty. And it feels like in this period of time, it's either make it or break it. So we're looking at partnered, but this could be also parents, friends, besties, people that you love that have this deep bond. It's really important to lean into honesty and integrity now. Karmically, in the past and in past lives, that's been a block. This time around, it's important to be honest. Okay, other things. There may have been a significant loss or change, because we saw with this rebirth, the change is for the better. You can balance one another out to some degree, but you're not the therapist, you're not the doctor, and you're not the Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It. So know where your boundaries are and know where you might need to encourage them to seek help from others. So you're the partner, not the fixer-upper. A half-truth or a lie may come to the surface. Remember what I said with PR? Maybe it's just a promise not kept. Just say, I'm sorry. I should have been more honest on that. It won't happen again. But you have to be honest about saying it's not going to happen again. And if your partner consistently isn't honest about that, again, there's this feeling of like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. So set the ground expectations here, the groundwork to just sort of like say, you know what, this is last and final warning, because that's what I get here. It's time to level up. Okay, everything else, let's take the honesty piece out. For some of you, there's a move on the horizon. One or both of you might have been promoted. You might also be deciding to take this to the next level. This could be reconciliation, by the way, a breakup than a makeup. It's different this time, but you have to be clear on boundaries and expectations this time around. I don't know why it's coming through. It might be the Queen of Swords, but literally what I got was talk about in-laws. So if there is someone coming into your life, let's say an aunt, a mother, a parent, whatever, and you're extending the family, extending the home a little bit, you know, they could be someone that comes through and likes to shake things up a little bit. So it's going to be important to lay the groundwork there to make sure that everyone knows their place in space, because that could be something that is, for whatever reason, coming through, a family member that likes to shake things up. All right. If you're single and looking, good for you. In this moment in time, I think first and foremost, you know, you're going to have to focus on self-care and fixing some issues in your life first. Finances, just general work-life balance, get all of that where it needs to be. And towards the latter part of the week, perhaps, what we're looking at here is someone that you don't know, because we have outsider energy coming through, cups energy coming through from a public place, so work, school, or somewhere that you hang out. So a sort of like, what would you call this? Not a casual meeting, but just someone that comes into your trajectory. You don't have to seek it out. They'll seek you out. What's in the past should stay in the past. Like it or not, I see like a Libra possibly here for some of you. In the past, it needs to stay in the past. As a Libra, I'm like, I'm just going to call it as I see it. For everyone else, it could just be an X. There's a little bit of healing that needs to happen with an X, or with how something shook down in the past. There also might just be a divorce that needs to be finalized. Be mindful of the rebound energy before entering into something new. I think it might be nice to sort of gently step into something without too much commitment. So are you really ready for something big, or are you just ready to kind of like hang out and be with friends and maybe start like Three of Cups energy first? Okay. Single and happy, fantastic place to be. If you're single and happy, first of all, great time for personal development, for travel, for career development, and for recognition. Things that you still might need to focus on are balancing your health or your budget. Maybe some of you are in the middle of stepping out of one thing and into another. Judgment and the world are back to back here. The thing that's blocking them, interestingly enough, is justice, deciding. So are you ready? If you're ready for something, it's ready to happen. But there is that sense of, can I do it? Will I do it? Is this going to work? Okay? All right. We looked at everything. One last thing that I want to pull a card for, because I'm not always going to do it, but I saw a suggestion and it made sense, which is, how can you be more authentic? That was one of the topics, and maybe one day that'll be one of the ones that we focus on. But how can you step into the star energy in this moment in time? Knight of Pentacles. So it's a very grounded card, the Knight of Pentacles. But what's necessary here is you might have to backtrack and fix a few things. This Knight is reversed, and it's looking back at all of the seeds that it planted, all of the things that it did, and it's making sure that they all came to fruition, that all the promises were kept, that the balance, like the ledger balances out. So it feels like in order to get into the star energy, make sure that there's no one waiting for something, that you've left things better than you found them, and that you're also stepping forward with this feeling of no regrets. There may have been something that you set into motion that you forgot about, or something that you said you were going to do that you didn't. And this is also making sure, kind of like we were looking at this displacement energy, that you're not leaving something that there's a juicy morsel there that's worth your time and energy. All right, let's meditate, and then we will take a look at the final question for today. All right, so for the meditation, just take a moment, please. Close your eyes, and for today's meditation, what do I want to pull forth? Okay, so the ocean is coming through, and I'm looking at low tide. So imagine that you're sitting on the beach, and it's low tide, and you found a spot where you can just kind of sit. In the low tide, you can actually see all of the things that are kind of hanging out there waiting for the water to come back. So there might be some jellyfish, there might be some seashells, there might be some seaweed. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this displacement scene. Close your eyes, feel the cool sand beneath you, create a circle around you, and I'd like you to connect with the sun above. As you are connecting to that solar energy, listen to the ebbs and flows of the waves crashing down on the beach, and imagine that with each breath that you're taking, that the waves are getting a little bit closer, that something that you're trying to accomplish is coming a little bit closer, until you feel it gently tickle your feet. And now whatever it is in your life, know this, you're just one step away. It's right there, it's in front of you. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it. I'd like you to feel this closeness, this reach out and touch energy that is right in front of you, and know that you can do this. Whatever it is that you felt blocked before does not need to remain blocked now. If you want to, you can also get up and step into the water and feel that whatever you need to release, you can give it to the sea, and as the tide goes back, it takes it back to source energy. Take a few deep breaths where you're at. Feel that you are connected, that you are safe, that you are cleared of any fears, anxieties, or doubts. And I'd like you to turn your mind towards a final question. It can be anything that you still need some advice on. Go ahead and formulate that question. We have the Magician coming through, which is a yes, but the Magician is reversed. So what it's saying is, now especially is a time to focus, to trust, and to initiate the action that we've been talking about. Less is more with the Magician. It's also a time where you don't want to waste your time, energy, and magic on things that aren't worth it. So belief and focus are the missing pieces, and future you just wants you to believe in yourself. Overall, this was a pretty heartening reading because everything that we see here, again, is positive. The Knight of Cups, the Six of Wands, the World card, the Ten of Wands. Things can only get better. The things that you want to focus and take away from today's reading, don't rush. That's the first thing with the bat. Be honest with yourself. Get decisive and clear on what you want to do. And don't repeat old cycles. It's time to move in a new direction. All right, folks, that brings us to a close for today. It is free, it is simple, it is helpful. So if you enjoyed today's reading, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new or just casually coming through the channel here, why not subscribe and see what else I have to offer? It's also free, and it also helps the channel, and it costs nothing. So thank you so much. When this is on replay, you can also leave a comment below and let me know how this resonated. After we're done today, you can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. You can go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, for all official links. It's also on the main YouTube channel page. If you'd like to give back with a super sticker, super chat, or with a membership, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I literally could not do all of this without the support of you. So thank you for allowing me and supporting me in this endeavor so that I can be of service to you. watching the videos, commenting on the videos, giving back. That's how this is possible. So if it stops, then I can't do it. So thank you for continuing. I appreciate that. To that end, I'd like to take a couple moments here to extend some gratitude and thanks to everyone here. So let's see, if we will, for a moment, some of the anniversaries, some of the stickers, and I'll acknowledge all of those. All right, so today, special thanks to the following members. Marina, welcome. Good to have you here. Crystal, thank you for being a member for a month. I'm glad that you love the channel. It's good to have you here. I love you too. Thank you. And Walk, 22 months. Oh my gosh, almost 2 years. Happy to have you here. I know you've been a subscriber for a lot longer. Thank you for being a member as well. So Norma, thank you for 26 months, over 2 years of membership. So good to have you here. Thanks for sending the love to Apollo too. He appreciates it. Colleen, thank you for gifting a membership and also for being a membership. I see that star. Believe in Magic, thanks for your sticker. Much appreciated. Bernadette, you just gave 10 memberships. Get out of town. And I see that you're also a member, and I recognize the name as a longtime subscriber. Thanks for all of the above. Bonnie, thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Again, from the bottom of my heart, that helps a lot. And Colette, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Let's see, Rach, I think it is, Rach's Magic. Thank you for gifting a membership as well. For a couple of stickers here, thank you to Amitabha. Good to see you. I know you're a longtime subscriber and member. Good to have you here today. Popcorn, right back at you. Also the top commenter today. So I'm glad that this is elevating for you. You know what? The same is true for me. I walk into each reading, even if I'm feeling dehydrated like I am today, or feeling tired or uncertain, I always feel better. And I'm glad that that comes across to all of you too. So thanks for being a part of this community. Heather, thank you for gifting a membership. Believe in Magic, right back at you for giving a membership as well. Let's see, Deborah, you just gifted one, and you're a member for 11 months, 1 month away from 1 year. Thank you so much. Actually, you gifted 2. I take it back. Sarah, 42 months. I think that's the longest so far. Much appreciation to you too. Let's see, True North Arts, thank you for the kind sticker. All right, we also have another gift coming from Anne. Thank you for being a member and gifting to a member. To Monica, Yolanda, and Heather, thank you for your stickers. And oh my God, Regina, thank you for the magical, all the ones, 1111. I appreciate it. My honor to be here, and you just made my day. Thank you so much. Everybody just made my day. But again, this is give and take, and it really means a lot when you guys give back. So thanks for being a part of this through all the different moves. By the way, I may, interestingly enough, have to do like a little mini sub move before I do a longer sort of, many of you know that I'm looking to move overseas, but there's some delays on some of the paperwork, so there may be an interim move. So I appreciate that all of you are with me through the many different changing landscapes and backgrounds. It's part of the journey. So I continue to show up wherever I am, and I appreciate all of you continuing to show up wherever you are. And that's what we're going to keep doing every week. So this week I'll start putting out the next round of videos. Believe it or not, I'll be putting out November and December. You already have September and October. I'm going to continue with the 2 months, and then I'm going to pepper in additional readings because I like not having to sweat, are we on time? Are we going to catch up? And then I'll start doing additional little readings like love readings, getting past blocks. I feel like this is going to give us more variety, and then it lets me do the quality of monthly readings that I want. Until I find a permanent location, I need to kind of do this. So thank you for your flexibility. All right, from my heart to yours, wishing you the best possible week ahead. Take care of yourselves. Let's pull out the confetti. We made it through it. We made it through the eclipse almost. Be gentle with yourselves today. Get some rest as well. Until I see you again, take care. Bye-bye.